Good evening, everybody. Thank you for, wow. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Thank you for joining us for the March 17th, 2022 meeting. Our pastor that was going to be coming to give the invocation could not make it, so you're stuck with me. If everybody would rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come together as a city. We just finished elections, Lord. We are very fortunate to live in a country where elections go smoothly and people have the right to vote for elected officials. That is a freedom not offered to many people around the world, and we should not take that for granted. Lord, I pray for wisdom and discernment as we try to do the people's work. I pray that you will give us wisdom and help us to understand all that is before us. I thank you for the citizens who are participating. And we also ask you that you might put a shield of protection around all of our first responders as they take care of us in times of stress and trouble. We ask all these things in your holy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have some service awards to start out, but I know there's some folks in the audience that would like to speak to different items. If you want to speak, we do ask you to fill out a comment card before coming to the podium. If you could turn that in, and then if you could just give your name when you come up. We're going to start out with a service award for Krista Smith. Is she here? Woohoo! Yes, all right.
Congratulations. Krista, thank you for everything.
Watch the rise right here.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank
Krista.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Krista is with our library system and has just finished 10 years of service. Next, I'd like to call up Jason Hayner from our fire department for 15 years of service.
There you go. Great job. Keep going.
Congratulations, Jason. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
In Jason's spare time, he coaches his son and my two grandsons in Little League Baseball. So
Awesome.
keep up the great work.
Thank you for that volunteerism. Here's the big one. For 30 years of service from our gas system, Chuck Warrington.
Charles Chuck Warrington, Managing Director and Executive Officer, 30 years of service. In the late 80s and early 90s, the city of Clearwater considered whether or not to retain the Clearwater gas system as a city-owned utility. Ultimately, the city decided to retain the utility and began the search for a leader who could develop a long-term strategy for system growth and improve its business practices. In 1991, they concluded that search, and on February 2nd, 1992, Chuck Warrington took the reins as Managing Director and Executive Officer of the Clearwater gas system. Chuck immediately got to work to create a strategy on making the system more financially sustainable while looking forward to alternative future uses for natural gas. The result of his work is a substantial increase in the gas system area from 135 square miles to 330 square miles, and a customer base that has grown from 11,256 individuals to 28,243. That should be homes, actually. And businesses. Thank you. In addition to leading the Clearwater gas system, Chuck has also spent time over the last 30 years in state and national leadership roles within the gas industry. He has served as president of the Florida Natural Gas Association and the Florida Municipal Natural Gas Association, chairman of the American Public Gas Association, and has served for multiple years as a board member for those groups, as well as the Southern Gas Association. Currently, Chuck is a board member for the American Gas Association, which represents both public and private gas systems throughout the United States. Chuck always made a conscious effort to prioritize his community, taking leadership roles with the Clearwater Rotary, the JCs, Junior Achievement, the Boy Scouts of America, and his church. This commitment probably shines highest in Chuck's commitment to the city's annual United Way campaign, which he has championed and supported for over 15 years. I know how difficult that's been, Chuck. Please join me in recognizing Chuck Warrington for his 30 years of service and leadership to the citizens of Clearwater and the customers of the Clearwater gas system. Congratulations, Chuck, on a job well done, Mayor Frank Hibbard.
Chuck, thank you for all you've done for the city and the entire community.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations, Chuck.
Congratulations.
Next, if I could have Sheila Nestler come forward for the Clearwater Women Making History Proclamation. And anyone else you want to invite.
Okay, guys.
Whereas the city of Clearwater is home to more than 61,000 women, with more than 4,100 female-owned businesses, and whereas the city of Clearwater, as part of the Tampa Bay Metropolitan Statistical Area, is considered one of, if not the best place in the nation for a woman to start a business, and whereas the female residents of Clearwater continue to serve their community, their state and nation as elected officials, CEOs of local not-for-profits, teachers, business owners, leaders, and caregivers for our most vulnerable neighbors. And whereas the city of Clearwater can take pride in the amazingly diverse group of esteemed women who have made their mark on our world and who have called Clearwater their home. Now therefore, I, Frank V. Hibbard, Mayor of the city of Clearwater, Florida, on behalf of the Clearwater City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2022 to be Clearwater Women Making History Month in Clearwater, and encourage all citizens to recognize the women from our community for their dedication and service in the past, in the present, and the future.
I bid you greetings on behalf of Carolyn Bradham, who's the owner of Carolyn's Kitchen. Carolyn, like many of us, are very happy that baseball is back in season because she's the caterer for them. And so she's been a little bit busy and couldn't join us. But I'm pleased to introduce you. Say a few words, Sharon.
Oh, hello. I'm Terry Nowitzki. I'm a business owner, a woman business owner here in Clearwater, and I'm also part of the Downtown Development Board. And I just wanted to say thank you for this incredible honor of honoring women. I know that it's not always easy, and it's great to have this support. Thank you so much for being here and for doing this.
Thank you. Allison?
I'm Allison Dolan. I'm the president of the Clearwater Historical Society. The Clearwater Historical Society just opened up their 4th annual Trailblazing Women of Clearwater at the museum every Friday and Saturday from 10 to 2. So you can come out and learn about eight of the women that we chose this year. This is our 3rd annual one. So we still have the other 2 years still up there too, so you can learn about all of them.
And then lastly, I'd like to introduce Eleanor Lyda, who's with the Gateway. We're also going to have a party. why not celebrate something wonderful? On the 29th of March, from 5:30 to 7, we're having a special reception for all women. Everyone is invited. There's no charge. We just want to bring all the women together that are supporting this community, and it's at Marlene Rose Gallery. So we hope that we can celebrate the women from the past, the present, and the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we got to get,
Watch the rise. I know. That's why I said watch it. We don't want a lawsuit.
thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Next, if I could have Sean Sullivan, the Executive Director, and Ren Kroll, Deputy Executive Director of the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council. Good evening.
Good evening. Ren is ill, she couldn't make it, she
Okay,
condolences.
we'll forgive her. Whereas the City of Clearwater has recognized that over the past 60 years, the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council has served as our citizens and member governments by providing a forum to foster communication, coordination, and collaboration in identifying and addressing issues and needs regionally since 1962. And whereas the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council was the first regional planning council in the state of Florida and is recognized as Florida's only multi-purpose regional entity able to plan for and coordinate intergovernmental solutions to growth-related problems on greater than local issues, provide technical assistance to local governments, and meet the need of the communities in each region. Whereas the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council is recognized both statewide and nationally as a leader in regional and resiliency planning and follows the Strategic Regional Policy Plan, which is a guiding document providing regional goals and policies for the 5 subject areas required by Florida statutes, which includes economic development, emergency preparedness, natural resources, regional transportation, and affordable housing. Now therefore, I, Frank V. Hibbard, Mayor of the City of Clearwater, Florida, on behalf of the Clearwater City Council, do hereby proclaim April 6, 2022, to be the 60th anniversary of the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council in the City of Clearwater and urge all citizens to commend them on their significant and excellent contributions for 6 decades of service in the Tampa Bay region.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, we hired Sean while I was serving on the Tampa Bay Regional Planning Council, and we got him down from Boston, and he's slowly converting to Tampa Bay, but Tom Brady coming helped get him to be a Bucks fan. But we still can't pry him away from the Red Sox yet, but we're trying.
Thank you for being here and all you do, and Vice Mayor, thank you for all you've done on the Regional Planning Council.
My pleasure.
And at this time, we are going to have presentations for the Vice Mayor's goodbye. At least that's how they have it. Do you want to do it at the end, or do you want to do it now?
I'd rather do it at the end. Don't make these people wait for that.
Okay.
Here for other stuff.
Wow, you all just got a reprieve. Congratulations. All right. I would ask if there are approval minutes for March 3rd, 2022.
I would move approval of the minutes as submitted by our outstanding city clerk in her office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. And I did not introduce the dais. I'm not following my. So on my far right is our city manager, John Jennings.
Good evening.
For the last time, Vice Mayor Hoyt Hamilton,
Good evening.
Councilmember David Albritton,
Good evening.
Councilmember Kathleen Beckman,
Good evening.
Councilmember Mark Bunker. Good evening. And our city attorney, David Margolis.
Good evening.
At this time, I'll open it up to citizens to be heard. If you are here to talk on an item that is not on the agenda, this is the appropriate time. You can find agendas off to my far right, and all we ask is that you fill out a comment card, state your name for the record, and we respectfully ask you to keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Hi, my My name is Angela Tisdale. I'm a Clearwater resident. My husband and I run a nonprofit organization called Seeds of Promise. And through our organization, we run a track program for ages 6 to 15 in our program in the community. I'm here to speak about the co-sponsored program that Clearwater offers for local organizations in the community. Last month, our organization applied for the Clearwater for Youth Athlete Registration Grant, which provides impactful recreational programs the support needed to keep registration fees low for children of all economic backgrounds by offsetting the cost of partially or fully scholarship participants. We were denied the grant due to the fact that we include facility costs in our registration fees. According to Daniela, who is the marketing events manager, said CFY supports organizations who are co-sponsored through the City of Clearwater and through their co-sponsorship do not have to pay for facility use. Daniela asked me if I reached out to the city to see if becoming a co-sponsor organization, to which I replied, yes, I did last year. I read her the email from Michelle Leach with Parks and Rec that read, the City of Clearwater is not currently in a position to consider additional organizations for this program. We appreciate your interest but the co-sponsorship aspect of the athletics program is not open for new applicants and likely will remain closed for a variety of reasons until further notice. The city does not own a track, which makes it difficult to support one program, let alone multiple programs. Backtrack, this is read from Chris Cook. I later reached out to Chris Cook and he said that the city does not own a track, which makes it difficult to support one program, let alone multiple programs. We do our best with the programs that we have here, but we are not able to offer any further assistance at this time. Further information that's been given doesn't seem accurate based on the fact that we currently rent out Joe DiMaggio and Countryside High School for lights, field use, track use, plant operation for over $4,000 for the season from February and until August, which shows that there's no shortage of facility availability. My reasoning for being here is because I know that you all make the final decision about approving programs like ours, and I want to suggest that you think hard about approving ours. Last year, let alone, with no support of the city, and no big funding, we were able to take 6 athletes from the Pinellas County area who qualified to compete at the AAU Junior Olympics and bring back 6 gold medals and 3 national titles. This program has been bringing recognition to the City of Clearwater for birthing some of the most talented athletes in the world. If we can do that with no support, just imagine what we can do with support. Thank you for your time.
All right, Ms. Tisdale, we'll get back to you on that.
Good evening. My name is Bill Sturtevant. Good evening, Mayor, Council members, City Manager Jennings, City Attorney Margolis. I just wanted to come tonight and thank Hoyt, Councilmember Hamilton, for I don't know how many years of service. I think I met you in '02 on a large project on the beach. You were always here. You always did your job. You always did your homework. Your comments were always right on. We didn't always agree, but I really thank you for your strong service for our community. David, we go back a long time doing events. So glad you got reelected. Look forward to working with you over the next 4 years. Mark, we want to say glad you're here tonight. Want you to know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. We hope all goes well, and we need you on this panel. Stay well, my friend. Thank you, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sturtevant.
My name is Michael Dalton. I live on Excalibur Drive. This is about representation for hundreds of property owners, citizens of Clearwater, and the property at 2465 Nursery Road, the new Unity Church and the proposed new elementary school. Hundreds of people living on or near Nursery Road were not informed about this large project, so no one showed up to question the plat hearing. We want this method of the 200 feet changed to a more modern system. The plat at 2465 was improperly divided. They require additional easements and right-of-way, violating development sections 4-701 C2, C3. After plat division, the builder began demolition and construction without permits, continues to work at the site despite the stop orders. The council rules were violated on allowing discussion about the plat immediately before the vote was taken. This makes the vote invalid. The plat is in limbo. The builder's road study was for a typical connector road. Nursery Road is a substandard neighborhood road, rendering meaningless the assumptions, the data, and the projections by the builder's agent. We want to see the required water runoff data, the chemical analyses, and the air quality permits. Who did the City of Clearwater's critical review of the effects on the neighborhood? The developer's data and analysis favors his client with no mention of residents, voters. We request a list also of recent Clearwater properties sharing driveways and parking facilities. The final plat identifies Pinellas County Road 115. The plat itself is invalid due to the conflicting legal descriptions. Applications to the city list an existing school at 2465 Nursery Road when 36 years there have been no school there. There's no existing school. The cited property division is invalid. Permits to build have not been granted, but the builder continues despite work orders. The plat needs a proper review to be heard by the public. Hundreds of area citizens state that building a large school along Nursery Road is an ill-conceived project that will lower the quality of life for residents.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton.
I have a list of some of the violations.
I appreciate that.
Good evening, Mayor Hibbert and the council member. My name is Mark Birnbaum. I would like to speak about the new charter school at 2465 Nursery Road that was approved by your council on January the 20th, 22. This is extremely important traffic impact study of 9/8/21, published in October of 21, contains 77 pages that reflects a low vehicle count. This report misleads the city officials and the data based on only one day, as refined by page 42 of the 77 pages. The agent for the contractor published real numbers, but why? There's a concern, because a low volume of traffic clearly shows favorable results for the project to understate the traffic of vehicles and influence the decision for the entire project. The conclusion from the one-day study during a 24-hour period 6 months ago is not valid today. Why? The study of volumes of vehicles, including misleading assumptions throughout the entire agent's report, is reflected. The volume of vehicles acceptable level is 750 cars at a peak time of AM hours of capacity, as shown on page 13 of the report. There are two peak periods, morning 8 to 9 and afternoon 4 to 5, and the report showing a delay is not a capacity issue since the volume to capacity ratio is below 1 as reflected on page 19 of the report. But that's not quite true either. Low volume counts could be due to three important things. Limited driving due to COVID infection. People didn't drive, didn't work. Number two, the snowbirds didn't come down until after September. They didn't come down in September. So the numbers were lower on August the 8th. Of the day of the report. And the third, this was the second day of the Jewish holiday called Rosh Hashanah. So people stayed home because they couldn't go to prayer. So now you know why the agent's vehicle count was low for this one-day study. The study of this magnitude warrants having several days of a study to evaluate and to obtain the accurate count of vehicles, not just one day. Whoever does one-day studies? Nobody. A study was performed by us, the homeowners, on February the 23rd, March the 9th, March the 10th, manually counting vehicles provided a 3-day weighted average of traffic. Using the same AM and PM time periods as the agent study, the combined study showed vehicle traffic was considerably higher by a count of 55% more than the agent study, with 822 vehicles for one of the 3 days versus the agent count of 532 vehicles. The overall combined result reflects that the homeowners' traffic was 34% higher than the agent's one-day study. Amazing, a 3-day study is simply more accurate to accept. request council instruct the traffic department to add at least 3 new traffic studies to provide
Thank
accurate
you,
and
Mr.
unbiased
Beerbaum.
traffic impacts studies so to authenticate the results from another independent study. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Powers. I live on Nursery Road, and I'm here very briefly to address the same issue that the previous 2 gentlemen have. However we got to this state, I am not at all opposed to educational institutions, and there is one going in on Nursery Road. If anybody is unaware of where this is, Nursery Road is a 2-lane road, and we're talking about the stretch between US 19 extending west to Belcher. And in the middle of that, there is the Unity Church of Clearwater on the south side of the street, and there's going to be this school built in there, which is great. My concern, though, echoing a little bit of what the previous 2 gentlemen have said, is that about 200 feet east of where this school will be built, there's a mobile home park. About 250, 300 feet farther east, on the opposite side of Nursery Road, there's another a mobile home park. I live in the closest of the 2, and the citizens of those 2 parks tend to have quite a number of medical emergencies. It's not uncommon to see EMTs coming in and out of either one of those mobile home parks. Nursery Road is rather narrow. It's a 2-lane road, and the shoulders alongside the road on the north side and the south side are very inconsistent what shoulders there are. You have sporadic guardrails very close to the edge of the road, or you have ditches. So my concern is that, if there's a car circle, parents picking up children, and there's a backup of cars waiting, stop-and-go traffic, if an ambulance needs to get through from US 19 or from the Belcher side, and they have to blare their siren and try to get clearance, in certain stretches of that road, there's nowhere to go. There is nowhere to pull off the road to get out of the way in an ambulance, and I'm kind of concerned that emergency responders might lose precious seconds because the road is substandard. There is an interesting parallel to this situation if you look at Haynes Bay Shore Road, which is on the other side of US 19, on the east side, a mile or so, half a mile south. They've got Clearwater Central Catholic on a 2-lane road, which is very similar looking to Nursery Road. But if you analyze that stretch of road, Clearwater Central Catholic is on the south side, and on the north side, pretty much all of that stretch is Cove Cay's golf course. So you've got residents only on the south side, and then as you drive east, eventually Haynes Bay Shore hooks around to the south. I don't know where it goes, but you don't have commercial establishments and things feeding into Haynes Bay Shore from that way the way you have here. So anyway, that's my concern.
Thank you, Mr. Powers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Teresa Veneziano. I'm here in regards to the Nursery Road situation. I sent out a mass email yesterday. I did not get one response back from anybody, so I'm here to read my email. I am sending out this mass email in hopes that my voice is heard. My husband, Carl Veneziano, and I, Teresa Veneziano, are very concerned about the construction of a charter school that will be constructed right down the street from our home. Our main concerns are the high flow of traffic with substandard road. The traffic survey was skewed, and we would like new independent survey done on a normal work day. Survey was done just as Florida was opening up from COVID, so traffic was light. The noise pollution, as it is, the road from Belcher to 19 is very busy and noisy, from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and then again from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Air pollution, once again, please refer to number 3. Along with the increased traffic comes the noise and the air pollution. This will increase health problems with those of us living right on Nursery Road. Excuse me. Fumes from the increased buses and cars will permeate through the windows and doors, causing breathing issues or could cause other health issues. the ecosystem with all the pollution that will be caused by the increase of traffic. This will cause issues with plant life and wildlife. Plants need air to survive. With fumes from vehicles, their air will be compromised. The wildlife in the area are in danger every day. The increase of traffic will only increase their danger. We do have wood storks that fly through it, egrets, ibis, and blue herons. The Muscovy ducks generally walk across the road, they waddle, and I have picked up my fair share of dead ducks on that road. Just yesterday, I picked up a mallard that was struck. Now take a minute to think if that was a child. What we would like to see done is the following: more accurate traffic study, bring the substandard road to a better road that can be handled by high volume traffic, look into putting speed tables before the school, possible traffic light which will be activated during school hours, police presence during school hours monitoring traffic for speeders and other infractions. The City of Clearwater installed a flashing pedestrian walk signal at the Duke Energy Trail right on Nursery Road, which only a handful of people actually use the signal. I used it the other day. I pushed the button, I waited a few seconds, no cars were coming. I started across the road, and what do you know? Here comes a car coming through. The mirror brushed my back. So, whoop, my time is up. But anyways, Nursery Road is meant not to be a high volume traffic area.
Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
John.
I don't know from the last one, talking about the charter school at Nursery Road. My name is Glenna Wentworth. I'm president of the Morningside Meadows Homeowners Association. Honorable Mayor and council members. Concerns have been expressed in our neighborhood about the safety for cars and pedestrians and the volume of traffic on Nursery Road once the proposed charter school is open. The easternmost section of Nursery Road borders our neighborhood. It's our southern border, and one of our major entrances is there. In addition, there are 110 homes on Nursery Road or on small streets that branch off it, for whom Nursery is their only entrance and exit. This section of Nursery, a county road, is a narrow two-lane road with 9-foot lanes, no shoulder, and one portion drops off to deep ditches with exposed equipment. The sidewalks on our side of the road, the north side, are broken up and difficult to navigate. This road is also an arterial road going several miles to the west. At morning and evening rush hour, cars line up for blocks at Nursery and Belcher, and also at Nursery and US 19. Certainly, this road will not be adequate once the charter school is in session. I mean, it has been barely adequate when there were 110 homes and 3 churches, and the residents from our side, that side of the neighborhood. With the charter school going in, it will not be adequate. I believe there is to my knowledge, no crosswalk planned across Nursery right in front of the school. This would be unsafe for our kids. At present, I think there are kids in our neighborhood who are looking forward to going to that school and would like to attend that school. At present, it's been mentioned before, there are only 2 crosswalks on Nursery in this portion, and they are at either end, far away from the school. One is at the Excalibur Street entrance which is to the west, and the Duke Energy Trail, which is to the east. Only the Duke Energy Trail crosswalk has a flashing light, which was installed after a woman bicyclist was killed trying to cross Nursery a couple of years ago. So we are asking for Clearwater to please work with the county to improve Nursery Road if the charter school is going to be approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wentworth.
Mr. Jennings, Mayor, and City Council, I am Barbara Birnbaum, and come before you as a parent and Clearwater resident concerned about traffic, signals, sidewalk, and drainage after our daughter was hit and landed in a ditch on the north side of Nursery. She was coming from school. Her bike was in the city. Not our problem. Why? Because she was in a county drainage ditch. Not our problem. Why? Because there's an open gas pipe. And that's state. 3 jurisdictions, and 2 hours later, our daughter got out of the ditch. According to state law, any road that goes through a city is governed under the city jurisdiction. Thus, the city of Clearwater is now responsible for Nursery Road. By following the law, why did the county just paint SCHOOL on the pavement prior to school approval? Why were property changes made without 3 public notices and neighbors notified? I was on the traffic engineering committee, and it took 6 years to get a city sidewalk. But county enclaves remained gravel and dirt, not Clearwater jurisdiction. Improvements were finally made, but our neighborhoods are now faced with sidewalks abutting up to open ditches and outdated pipelines that are more than 75 years old that should be covered. Cyclists and pedestrians passing each other on the grass or the choice of falling in the ditch. Sidewalks sloping into New Horizons mobile home area that floods. Neglected shrubs on the bike trail that need trimmed and maintained and have never had debris removed. A barrier link fence on the north side, where the creeks are, is wide enough for a cyclist who may be a safe driver. Explain that to a child, a handicapped or blind person with a cane or seeing eye dog that live in our neighborhoods. Funds allocated for our area of nursery were reallocated to Nursery Road from Belcher to Keene and Druid to 19 with sidewalks, drainage improvements, and beautification. Why are we the orphaned area east side of Clearwater? The city council members, you may hear us, but do you listen? Your actions will speak louder than words. Show the citizens of your orphaned southeast Clearwater that you care about our neighborhood as much as you care about downtown and the amphitheater.
Thank you, Ms. Birnbaum.
And save Nursery Road before approving this request and children get hurt or killed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Saving a life is a small price to pay. We leave it in your hands to take action. Thank you.
I ask people to respect the 3-minute rule. If I don't apply it to everybody, it's not fair to the people that follow the 3 minutes. So, sir.
Mr. Jennings, Albritton, Mayor. My name's Tom Gleason. I'm a resident on this road. Done a little bit of study. Most of the people have touched base on it so far. The road, for what the trucks have been using, we have signs at both ends. We have a Domino's, we have a gas station, we have Walgreens. They like the road. 65-foot trucks, excessive of 80,000 pounds. When they put the guardrails up, that was happening because of a vehicle that ran off the shoulder and their trunk was looking at the moon. And they finally put some guardrails up. But the road, it does this, it crowns. When you got a truck that's 80,000 pounds coming in for a delivery from the Tampa area, eventually that road's going to go, and it's going to continue. They put a guardrail. All the posts that are in the ground, they're already starting to deteriorate, so the guardrail's starting to move. Most of all the topics that have been touched on, I don't want to go back over and waste my time. The road is 9.5 feet wide. It should be 12 feet wide. That's the new standard. The old standard back in the 50s, 9.5 feet was okay for the trucks that we had back in those days. But now we have larger trucks. The trailers are wider, the wheels are wider, everything. And the sign flashes and flashes 24/7. But they still use that road instead of going Gulf to Bay, Bel Air Road, East Bay, and then come in for their deliveries. It's been an issue. Just this morning, I walk my dog every morning at 5. A man came down the road at 5 o'clock this morning with a load of mulch. 40,000 pounds of mulch, and he didn't know where he was going. And I saw him, and he was up and down the road, back and forth. He ended up needing to go to some apartments and deliver all this mulch. And he had to park off the side of the road. It's not an area for commercial vehicles. Also, the amount of traffic, it's unbelievable. That's my story.
Thank you, Mr. Gleason.
Yep.
Did I do that? Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Ed Thebe. I'm the Executive Director of the Community Service Foundation. Our office is at 925 Lakeview Road. The back side of our office is on Dempsey Road, which is the northern part of the trail that takes you around Lake Bellevue on the south side of Clearwater. You may recall last year on Earth Day, we submitted a petition on behalf of the community for the city to work with us to help restore the lake. I'm here tonight to share with you a special calendar that we have developed. If I may approach all of you.
You may, or if you want to put it on the Elmo, you can put it there and then people can see it at home.
Okay.
It's right there.
Just put it down.
Right where you are.
Right where you're at.
Right on the
Just
Clearwater.
seal.
You can bring the others, but no, it should be on the screen.
There's a copy for each of you here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the work of the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. They are in partnership with our foundation to develop this calendar. In particular, Lindsay Flynn, who is the manager of the Sea Turtle Conservation Program. They are based on Martin Luther King. And Paul Jacobs, who's the senior biologist. They helped to formulate the list of 62 birds that are residing at Lake Bellevue. If you look at the back of the calendar, you'll see the list. This is the first edition of, we anticipate, a 5-year calendar series. And our goal is to promote and share with the community the various species of the birds that are inhabiting what we consider to be an environmentally significant body of water. We also share with you information about the amount of trash, the volume of trash that has been collected over this past several months in cooperation with the community and the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. You'll notice some unusual items that are listed in the trash list, as well as the volume of things that are falling into the lake. And it's because things are still coming into the lake that I'm here to suggest that there's additional things that we can do to improve the lake in the long term. And that would be to install baffles or filters on the storm drains. You already in the city of Clearwater have 40 of these baffles installed. And I think when you look at a freshwater lake, 30-acre lake, that is the hub and heart of our community in South Clearwater, that we consider this to be a priority in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Thebe. We look forward to celebrating with you on Neighborhoods Day, and
Look forward to seeing
thank you for the
everybody on the
calendar.
26th. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Sheila Neisler, and I own Catalyst, a marketing company which has an office at 600 Cleveland Street. Marketing is not a function. It is the whole business seen from the customer's point of view. The late Peter Drucker, who was considered the father of modern management theory, realized that those bells and whistles that we see on the internet, those shiny balls, may turn heads, but they don't turn into customers. They don't open wallets. Owning a small business is not for the faint of heart. 50% fail within 5 years. 66% fail within 10 years. And the primary cause of death? According to US Bank, 78% say it's just bad marketing. They don't know their market and they don't know how to distribute their message. Today, between 25 to 37% of all marketing dollars are wasted in bad decisions. 56% of online ads are never seen by human beings. 50% of all internet traffic is done by bots, and 28% of all website traffic is generated by bots. One thing people realize is bots don't buy. It's not a bot problem. It's people understanding they're spending all their money on social media. And they're not looking at who their target market is, especially down the street. And small business owners don't have the cash, nor the cash flow later to make bad marketing decisions. They need to plan to build their house before they build it. And they need to use their brains on strategy and targeting, and for most small businesses, a hyper-local perspective on getting their message back out before they're spending limited bucks. And Clearwater Business Spark is here to help. Next Thursday morning from 9:30 to 10:30, we will be hosting a workshop, Use Your Brains Before Spending Your Bucks, at the Ring. At 11:30, there will be an online version. It's open to all small business owners, and there's no charge to attend. As David Packard of Hewlett-Packard said, marketing is too important to leave to a marketing department. And small business is too important to Clearwater to assume they know their marketing. They know their craft. They know their business. They know their widgets. They just don't understand how to fully sell and market them. And that's why Charlotte, hello. Clearwater Business Spark is trying to help small business succeed. So I hope you will share this with your constituents. It's a great way for a collaborative group of people to come together and determine their best marketing strategy to market in Clearwater.
Thank you, Ms. Nessler.
I have 18 seconds.
Anyone else for citizens to be heard?
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mayor, City Manager, City Attorney. My name is Eleanor Lyda, and I'm here with the new Downtown Gateway Business and Neighbors Association. And I'm also here to introduce an old friend and a new friend.
Obviously, I'm the old friend. Focus on old. But I have a fun story to tell of the gateway part of town. It's now growing by leaps and bounds, lots of leaps and bounds.
I can't let you have 2 bites of the apple.
Oh, she said I could.
No, I thought you were, your.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Last one was yours.
Well, then do you want to read it on, or do you just want to show it?
It's so cute.
Go ahead and show it. Go ahead and show it.
Not arguing how cute it is. I just can't break the rules.
I'll read it.
Okay.
But if I stumble through it, please forgive me.
Okay.
Okay. I just introduced Sheila as my old friend, and I have a new friend also. Here's a story of the gateway part of town that was growing quickly by lots of leaps and bounds, but those changes were causing quite a few pains. People bobbing and weaving with new signs and goodness knows new car lanes. And along with it, lots of dust and, most important, cash flow drains. Okay, got to talk faster, you'll cut me off. Okay, now.
There's always a villain in the story.
Okay. So they called in a new friend to help them tell their story of great food, great shopping, while they bring back Gateway to its glory. He's a great guy who will be doing his own bobbing into restaurants, shops, and stores, showcasing the best of the Gateway. That's literally in store. So without further ado, we are pleased to present Bob Barola. Seriously, construction folks in the Gateway donated our areas. So welcome our new Gateway mascot. Seriously, the construction folks at the Gateway donated the barrel, a new business, a tattoo artist, decorated Bob. I was worried about how we were gonna do those eyebrows. And he decorated it, and he had help from his son, his wife, and they did it in like a day, and I had it the next day. So visit the new tattoo shop if you're in store for one of those kind of things. And thank you very much. Go to the Gateway and help our people.
Thank you both. There is a face on the barrel. You all can't see it, but
Oh, and by the way, he'll be wearing a hat for St. Patrick's Day. You never know where he's gonna show up.
just
with a
don't let him
different
drink.
kind of hat. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
We have a petition related to that Nursery Road issue.
Well, you know, if you want to wait just a second, I'm going to have staff come up and talk a little bit about the project and the fact that we're probably going to call for a meeting with all of you, so. Mr. Haluba, you want to bat cleanup?
Well, it's hard to follow, but yes, I will. And apparently I have someone new who's most aggravated, and that would be Mr. Slaughter. He was very upset with me following the last city council meeting. He doesn't like it one bit when citizens question his decisions. And hiring Byron Hatcher without a thorough background check was a big mistake. But hold on, you know. This email that I sent most of you, based on my findings, you know, we know that there was not a thorough background check done, even though that's what Slaughter and Gandy continue to claim. But let's just say for the sake of argument that a thorough background check was done. It begs the question, why in the world would anybody hire somebody like Byron Hatcher when other agencies clearly passed on him? And I'm going to direct this question to Tracy McManus. How many other unqualified people have been hired by Clearwater Police Department? And doesn't that justify some review and in-depth assessments of the hiring practices? I really believe you took on a really tough assignment, Mr. Jennings. Good luck with that. But Mr. Slaughter and Mr. Gandy, please perform thorough background checks on police applicants and stop scraping the bottom of the barrel. Please don't hire any more clowns like Byron Hatcher. As you can see, don't be just a defender of Clearwater Police and try to justify their existence. Do your job and try to protect us all.
Thank you, Mr. Haluba. Have a
Nobody's
good
going to
night.
comment? Mr. Margulis, you don't have a comment for me tonight?
Never do.
You did last time.
Anyone else for citizens to be heard? Mr. Jennings?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have been, and members of the council, I have been on the emails as it relates to Nursery Road, the development project. I think it's important, honestly, for us to get together, and I'd like to have a meeting that I'll come to, you know, your neighborhood with some staff, so we can actually walk the road. We can take a look at all the concerns that you have. There are some technical issues, and Gina, would you mind just explaining kind of the notification issue that we currently have?
Good evening, Gina Clayton, Planning and Development. It has come to my attention that we did have a notice issue with the plat. Somehow, when we ran the 200 feet notice, the computer went to the center of the site instead of from the corner, so there should have been more people notified. So we will re-notice the meeting and have a DRC. But DRC is not a public hearing. DRC is a public meeting, and so it's not a place where you can provide comments and all. So I just do want to make that distinction, and we'll try to do that as quickly as possible because we can't issue permits until we do that.
So what has been issued to date?
Well, we've issued 2 stop work orders for
Okay.
the construction fence and for the construction trailer. They have placed tree barricades and silt fences which do not require a permit and are required to be in place, inspected, and approved prior to issuing the actual building permit. And we have a total of 4 permits. We have a site permit, and we have 3 building permits.
And there have been a lot of questions about jurisdiction on the roads. So Nursery Road in that segment is a county road,
It is
is
a
it not?
county roadway, yes. While it's in the city of Clearwater, the county has jurisdiction and maintenance responsibilities associated with the roadway.
And that is something that I will talk to some of the county commissioners about on all of your behalf to try to get some county money there, as will our staff. But it would not be something the city of Clearwater would be doing, because it is their responsibility. And we're not passing the buck, but we don't fix their roads and they don't fix ours either. So I just want to make that clear. If you drive on a road generally and there's a ditch by the side, it's not a city road, because the majority of our roads have underground stormwater. It is one of the things that will distinguish the two.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So, Mr. Jennings will set that up and probably go to the Morningside Rec Center, which makes the most sense. And
we'll do that very soon. But as of now, Ms. Clayton, I believe what you're saying is that anything is now frozen, any future progress on this development is frozen because we need to go through the notification process.
That is correct. Staff is being notified tonight about putting a hold on all the permits until we can complete the DRC meeting.
Thank you for that.
okay. All right, I would ask if there are any consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.6 to be removed by the council or citizens. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda items 7.1 through 7.6.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 8.1.
Again.
Thank you all. Drive safe.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of residential low and initial zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential district for 2306 and 2322 Anna Avenue, and pass ordinances 9523-22, 9524-22, and 9525-22 on first reading.
Thank you. Kyle Brotherton, Planning and Development. So this item contains 2 voluntary annexation petitions totaling 0.458 acres of property, consisting of 2 parcels of land both occupied by detached dwellings.
Folks, if you could just take the conversations out back, please. Continue.
The applicants are requesting annexation in order to receive sanitary sewer and solid waste service from the city. The applicants are aware that the sewer impact and assessment fees must be paid in full prior to connection, and of the additional cost to connect to the city's sewer system. Upon annexation, the properties will be assigned a future land use map designation of residential low and a zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval of this item.
Any questions? Anyone from the public to speak to this item? Mr. Margolis?
I'll read all 3 of these together. So ordinance 9523-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real properties located generally north of Drew Street, east of North Belcher Road, south of Sharkey Road, and west of Old Coachman Road, whose post office addresses are 2306 and 2322 Anna Avenue, all in Clearwater, Florida 33765, into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Next up is ordinance number 9524-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real properties generally located north of Drew Street, east of North Belcher Road, south of Sharkey Road, and west of Old Coachman Road, whose post office addresses are 2306 and 2322 Anna Avenue, all in Clearwater, Florida, 33765, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as residential low RL, providing an effective date. And finally, we have ordinance number 9525-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real properties generally north of Drew Street, east of North Belcher Road, south of Sharkey Road, and west of Old Coachman Road, whose post office addresses are 2306 and 2322 Anna Avenue, all in Clearwater, Florida, 33765, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 8.1.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 8.2.
Approve the historic designation for 900 North Fort Harrison Avenue and pass ordinance 9528-22 on first reading.
Good evening, Dylan Prince, Planning and Development. This local historic designation application involves the former North Ward School located at 900 North Fort Harrison Avenue, which was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in September of 2021. The property is city-owned, 1.989 acres in area, and includes a total of 5 structures, with 2 of them being historically contributing. These include the original schoolhouse and its additions, as well as a small domed structure near the west end of the property. The other structures on the site are considered non-contributing and therefore would not be protected by local historic designation. The historic designation would exempt the historically contributing buildings from design standards outlined in the downtown zoning district that would impact their ability to retain historic integrity. Designating the Northward Elementary School locally will ensure that any future improvements will maintain the historic integrity of the building, because the owner is required to request a certificate of appropriateness in order to materially alter the building, erect a new building on the property, or demolish or relocate the building. Staff recommends approval of the local historic designation of the former Northward School. Are there any questions?
Any questions from council? Anyone from the public to speak to this item? Mr. Margolis.
Ordinance number 9528-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, relating to historic designation, making findings, designating certain real property located at 900 North Fort Harrison Avenue, formerly known as the North Ward School, as a historic property under Community Development Code Section 4-607, providing for classification of the designation, providing for notice of the designation, and recognition of the designated property by sign or marker, providing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve item 8.2.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 8.3.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of residential low and initial zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential district for 1819 Diana Drive, and initial future land use map designation of residential medium and initial zoning atlas designation of medium density residential district for 2704 South Drive, and pass ordinances 9531-22, 9532-22, and 9533-22 on first reading.
Thank you, Cobb Brotherton, Planning and Development. This item contains 2 voluntary annexation petitions totaling 1.483 acres of property, consisting of 2 parcels of land, one occupied by a detached dwelling and the other occupied by multiple attached dwellings, 6 duplexes for 12 units total. The applicants are requesting annexation in order to receive sanitary sewer and solid waste service from the city, and the applicants have paid the required sewer impact and assessment fees in full and have been connected to the city's sanitary system. The property located at 1819 Diane Drive will be assigned a future land use map designation of residential low and a zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential, and the property at 2704 South Drive will be assigned a future land use designation of residential medium and a zoning atlas designation of medium density residential. And the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Any questions? Anyone from the public to speak to item 8.3? Mr. Margolis.
We have 3 together here. So ordinance number 9531-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real properties located generally north of State Road 590, east of US Highway 19, south of Sunset Point Road, and west of El Trinidad Drive East, whose post office addresses are 1819 Diane Drive and 2704 South Drive, all in Clearwater, Florida, 33759, into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Next up is ordinance number 9532-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real properties located generally north of State Road 590, east of US Highway 19, south of Sunset Point Road, and west of El Trinidad Drive East, whose post office addresses are 1819 Diane Drive and 2704 South Drive, all in Clearwater, Florida 33759, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as residential low, RL, and residential medium, RM, providing an effective date. And finally, we have ordinance number 9533-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real properties located generally north of State Road 590, east of US Highway 19, south of Sunset Point Road, and west of El Trinidad Drive East, whose post office addresses are 1819 Diane Drive, 2704 South Drive, all in Clearwater, Florida 33759, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low medium density residential, LMDR, and medium density residential, MDR, providing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
Move approval of agenda item 8.3.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 8.4.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of industrial general and initial zoning atlas designation of industrial research and technology district for 1944 Calumet Street, Suite B, together with certain Calumet Street right-of-way, and pass ordinances 9534-22, 9535-22, and 9536-22 on first reading.
Thank you, Cobb Brotherton, Planning and Development. This voluntary annexation petition involves a 0.806 acre property consisting of one parcel of land currently occupied by a warehouse and office. The applicant is requesting annexation in order to receive sanitary sewer and solid waste service from the city. The applicant has paid the required sewer impact and assessment fees in full and is aware of the additional cost to connect to the city's sewer system. The property will be assigned a future land use designation of industrial general and a zoning atlas designation of industrial research and technology. Additionally, 0.679 acres of certain Calumet Street right-of-way will also be annexed into the city, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Questions? Anyone from the public to speak to item 8.4? Mr. Margolis.
Ordinance number 9534-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the north side of Calumet Street, approximately 545 feet west of North Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1944 Calumet Street, Suite B, Clearwater, Florida 33765, together with certain right-of-way Calumet Street into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary limits of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Second is ordinance number 9535-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the north side of Calumet Street, approximately 545 feet west of North Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1944 Calumet Street, Suite B, Clearwater, Florida 33765, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as industrial general IG, providing an effective date. And finally, we have ordinance number 9536-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the north side of Calumet Street, approximately 545 feet west of North Hercules Avenue, whose post office address is 1944 Calumet Street, Suite B, Clearwater, Florida 33764, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as Industrial Research and Technology, IRT, providing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
I move approval of agenda item 8.4.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 8.5.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of residential low and initial zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential district for 2635 Woodring Drive, and pass ordinances 9537-22, 9538-22, and 9539-22 on first reading.
Thank you, Cobb Brotherton, Planning and Development. This voluntary annexation petition involves a 0.201 acre property consisting of one parcel of land currently occupied by a new detached dwelling which is currently under construction. The applicant is requesting annexation in order to receive sanitary sewer and solid waste service from the city. The applicant has paid the required sewer impact and assessment fees in full and is aware of the additional cost to extend the city's sewer system. The property will be assigned a future land use map designation of residential low and a zoning atlas designation of low medium density residential. Due to the ongoing construction occurring in Pinellas County, this case will have its second and final hearing scheduled after the applicant receives its certificate of occupancy, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Any questions? Anyone from the public? You're earning your keep tonight, Mr. Margolis.
Barely. If I may.
Go for it.
Ordinance number 9537-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the southeast corner of Woodring and Carlton Drives, whose post office address is 2635 Woodring Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Next up is ordinance number 9538-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the southeast corner of Woodring and Carlton Drives, whose post office address is 2635 Woodring Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as residential low RL, providing an effective date. Finally, we have ordinance number 9539-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain real property located on the southeast corner of Woodring and Carlton Drives, whose post office address is 2635 Woodring Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33759, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
I have a motion.
Motion to approve agenda item 8.5.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 8.6.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of residential urban and initial zoning atlas designation of low-medium density residential district for an unaddressed parcel on the road known as the Mall, and pass ordinances 9543-22, 9544-22, and 9545-22 on first reading.
Dylan Prince, Planning and Development. This voluntary annexation petition involves a 0.114 acre property consisting of one parcel of vacant land. The applicants have indicated future plans to develop a detached dwelling on that property, although no plans have been submitted at this time. Annexation is being requested so at the time of construction, the property will be eligible to receive sanitary sewer and solid waste from the city. Upon annexation, the property would receive an initial future land use designation of residential urban and an initial zoning atlas designation of low-medium density residential. Staff is recommending approval as the property is contiguous with city boundaries and won't have any adverse impacts on city services. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Anyone from the public to speak to this item? See none, Mr. Margolis.
Ordinance number 9543-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain unaddressed real property located on the east side of the road known as the Mall, approximately 620 feet south of Union Street in Clearwater, Florida, 33755, into the corporate limits of the city and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Next up is ordinance number 9544-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan for the city to designate the land use for certain unaddressed real property located on the east side of the road known as the Mall, approximately 620 feet south of Union Street in Clearwater, Florida, 33755, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as residential urban RU, providing an effective date. And finally, we have ordinance number 9545-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning atlas of the city by zoning certain unaddressed real property located on the east side of the road known as the Mall, approximately 620 feet south of Union Street in Clearwater, Florida, 33755, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
I have a motion.
Move to approve item 8.6.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 8.7.
Approve the annexation initial future land use map designation of residential low and initial zoning atlas designation of low-medium density residential district for 1930 Ashland Drive, together with certain Ashland Drive right-of-way, and pass ordinances 9546-22, 9547-22, and 9548-22 on first reading.
Thank you. Todd Brotherton, Planning and Development. This voluntary annexation petition involves a 0.188 acre property consisting of one parcel of land occupied by a detached dwelling. The applicant is requesting annexation in order to receive sanitary sewer and solid waste service from the city. The applicant is aware that the sewer impact and assessment fees must be paid in full prior to connection and of the additional cost to connect to the city's sewer. The property will be assigned a future land use map designation of residential low and a zoning atlas designation of low-medium density residential. Additionally, 0.193 acres of Ashland Drive right-of-way will also be annexed into the city, and the Development Review Committee recommends approval.
Any questions? Anyone from the public to speak to item 8.7? Mr. Margolis.
Ordinance number 9546-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, annexing certain real property located on the north side of Ashland Drive, approximately 390 feet east of Beecher Road, whose post office address is 1930 Ashland Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33763, together with certain right-of-way of Ashland Drive into the corporate limits of the city, and redefining the boundary lines of the city to include said addition, providing an effective date. Next up, ordinance number 9547-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the future land use element of the comprehensive plan of the city to designate the land use for certain real property located on the north side of Ashland Drive, approximately 390 feet east of Beecher Road, whose post office address is 1930 Ashland Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33763, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as residential low RL, providing an effective date. And finally, we have ordinance number 9548-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the zoning outlets of the city by zoning certain real property located on the north side of Ashland Drive, approximately 390 feet east of Beecher Road, whose post office address is 1930 Ashland Drive, Clearwater, Florida, 33763, upon annexation into the City of Clearwater as low-medium density residential, LMDR, providing an effective date.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 8.7.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 8.8.
Council members, we're asking that the item be continued to April 7, 2022, and that is due to a noticing issue.
Do I have a motion to continue to April 7th?
Motion to continue to April 7th.
Second?
Anyone from the public to speak to this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Same with 8.9.
Yes, to continue, but not for a noticing issue, just a document is needed from the applicant.
Anyone to speak to item 8.9? Do I have a motion to continue to April 7th, 2022?
Motion to continue agenda item 8.9 until April 7th, 2022.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 9.1.
Adopt ordinance 9552-22 on second reading.
Mr. Margolis. You want me to read it?
If you wouldn't mind, my order seems to be...
Ordinance number 9552-22. An ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating a portion of the 10-foot wide plated drainage and utility easement and a portion of the 5-foot wide platted utility easement located on Lot 156, Woodgate of Countryside, Unit 1, according to the map or plat thereof, in Plat Book 70, pages 13 through 14, Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date. Is there anyone to speak to this item? I have a motion?
Move to approve item 9.1 and pass ordinance, or adopt ordinance 9552-22 on second reading.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. 10.1.
Amend the city's fiscal year 2021-22 operating capital improvement budgets at first quarter and pass ordinances 9558-22 and 9559-22 on first reading.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Kayleen Castle, Budget Officer. This is the first quarter budget review for the fiscal year 21-22 budget. I went over the report with you on Monday, and I would be happy to answer any additional questions you have.
Any new questions for Ms. Castle? Anyone from the public to speak to item 10.1? Seeing none?
Move
Mr.
approval of
Margolis.
agenda item 10.
What, there's an ordinance.
Two ordinances, that's right.
Ordinance number 9558-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the operating budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2022 to reflect increases and decreases in revenues and expenditures for the general fund, special program fund, parking fund, and administrative services fund, as provided herein, providing an effective date.
The second.
There's a
Adopt
second one.
Ordinance 9559-22, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the capital improvement budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2022 to reflect a net decrease of $26,403,885, providing an effective date.
I now move approval of agenda item 10.1.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Item 10.2, I will be recusing myself due to a relationship with the Crumbs, so the Vice Mayor will be taking that over.
Accept a temporary easement from Crumb Properties LLC to the City of Clearwater for ingress, egress, access to certain real property owned by Crum located at 100 South Missouri Avenue.
Good evening, Elliot Schoberg, the Engineering Stormwater Manager. We've done some, the Engineering Assistant Director, old title. The city has performed GPR, and archaeological excavation on the Crum property and determined there are bodies there. This easement is to allow Cardinal and the city access to determine the final boundaries of where the cemetery is.
Any questions of staff? Anyone from the public like to speak to this item?
Move approval of agenda item 10.2.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous with Mayor Hibbard abstaining due to conflict.
10.3.
Accept a utility easement from Good Goat LLC on real property located on a portion of land lying in the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of Section 17, Township 29 South, Range 16 East, Pinellas County, Florida, and adopt Resolution 22-08.
This is to accept the utility easement on the property for a water main.
Any questions? Anyone from the public to speak to item 10.3? Mr. Margolis?
Resolution 22-08, a resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, accepting utility easement from Good Goat LLC for the construction, installation, and maintenance of city utility facilities, providing an effective date.
Motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 10.3.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. 10.4.
Accept a drainage easement from Good Goat LLC on real property located on a portion of land lying in the southwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of Section 17, Township 29 South, Range 16 East, Pinellas County, Florida, and adopt Resolution 22-09.
This is a resolution to pass stormwater through the easement that we're accepting.
Any questions? Anyone from the public to speak to item 10.4? Mr. Margolis?
Resolution number 22-09, a resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, accepting a drainage easement from Good Goat LLC for the construction, installation, and maintenance of city drainage facilities, providing an effective date.
Have a motion?
Move to approve item 10.4.
And for the last time, I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Good job.
Anything else, Mr. Margolis, from you?
I just wanted to thank the Vice Mayor for...
I'll give you that chance, but do you have anything official? Okay.
I'd say it's official.
Mr. Jennings?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I did want to provide you and the community an update on the efforts staff is making to fix all of the sidewalk issues that we had identified. We had identified over, I think it was 203 sidewalk issues that needed to be addressed very, very quickly. And I'm proud to let all of you know that over the course of just the last few months, our staff has been able to correct over 100 of those sidewalks that are not impacted by a tree. So we have 103 sidewalk issues still to address that are being impacted by a tree. It's of course much more difficult to know exactly what to do with the tree itself and making sure that we're notifying residents and the folks on that street. So we've made incredible progress. I just want to thank city staff for the work that they've done. And then just one other thing, next Saturday, March 26th, we will once again have Neighborhoods Day. We have 30 locations, and I want to thank those neighborhood associations that have organized their events. We're really looking forward to coming out and visiting with you. This will be my first one, so I understand there's a lot of really good food and everything else, so we're looking forward to that. And I just wanted to make sure I point out Mike Lavery. Mike has spearheaded the Neighborhoods Day organization this year. And so Mike, thank you so much for providing all of that support.
Very good. Thank you for the update on the sidewalks. That's been an issue, and I'm glad we're really getting a grip on it and correcting it throughout the city. So it's good for citizens to hear that. All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. The Hamilton roast.
Take your best shot.
No. First, I want to open it up if there's any citizens that would like to say anything. I know there's some family members in the crowd. No? It's a chance to be on TV and roast toy. Okay.
Trust me, those people, I don't need them coming in.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and go first. I don't normally do that, but I am on this one. So, because we have served longer than anybody, and this is obviously a bittersweet moment. I ran in 01 and lost, and ran along Hoyt and he won, and
Not against each other.
not
but
against
two
each
different
other.
seats,
And but we've served a long time together, and I have just always appreciated your candor, your love for this city. It is in your blood. I know that, and it shows. I think that's critically important. You have a knowledge of this city that most people will never have, and a great heritage from your parents and your brothers. You've done a lot. Your place is a place that we all love and enjoy, and a lot of memories have been created there. And we're blessed to have that. I also want to thank Cheryl, because, you know, spouses put up with a lot. And they get to hear about all the bad things that people say about you, and some nights when you come home and you might not be in the best mood after a meeting or something else. So I want to thank your entire family, your kids, who I've watched grow up, which is amazing, from all the concerts at Coachman Park and seeing them grow up, get married, have kids of their own. It's a tremendous legacy.
And we've done the same for each other. Watched your kids grow up as well.
So I'm going to miss you terribly, but I know you're not going far, and can always count on you as a resource for things. And do we have the other gifts? I have a gift for you that's personal. So it's not like personal like you couldn't open it, but
It's not heavy.
but it's appropriate because I know
Should
you're
I
gonna
open
be,
it?
Go ahead and open
Okay,
it.
all right.
Cheryl's ready to do some serious traveling.
Oh, gee.
And one thing that Mr. Horn, the chief, Hoyt, and myself, it's the best bag I could find in the closet,
It's a hell of a bag, I'm telling you.
that we all share is love for timepieces.
For what?
For timepieces.
Oh,
for
my
watches.
goodness.
It's not a watch, Hoyt. I'm just rip the bag.
It is well packaged. I'm getting there.
But if you're going to be traveling, you need something to travel your
Oh, wow.
watches.
It's a
So
travel case for watches.
Very nice.
So,
can
well,
bring
thank
all
you
the different
very,
types.
very much. That is very nice.
a very, very small gesture for a lot of work over a lot of years. So
Will
thank
be
you,
put
my
to
friend.
good use.
Good.
Thank you very, very much.
Councilmember Albritton?
Well, Hoyt, I got to tell you, this last 4 years, I've enjoyed working with you. You know, we campaigned together, and we both won last time. And one thing that I always enjoy about you is you say what's right on your mind. I mean, you just put it out there, and you don't hold back. I've always admired, you know, the way that you describe things, and it does make a difference, you know, to have grown up in Clearwater and seen the changes that we've seen in our entire lifetime. And I'll tell you what, I have, and thanks to you, I'm looking forward to the next 4 years of my service for a lot of things happening in Clearwater that we've all worked hard to initiate. And now I think we're coming out of COVID and we can actually get some things done. So thank you very much for everything you've done for Clearwater. And I know we'll still be in touch with each other.
Every morning, or weekday mornings at the gym, you and me.
That's right.
Councilmember Beckman?
Sure. Just wanted to say thank you, Hoyt, for all your years of service to the city. I haven't been here for all those years, but I know your heart is in the city. And I appreciate, the perspective you bring to the dais of owning a restaurant in the tourism district, that's what our city's all about. So I think that perspective is invaluable. And I wish for you good health and exciting adventures and, just wonderful memories you'll make with your family and friends as you go off and enjoy retirement.
I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
Councilmember Bunker?
Well, I remember back in 2001, when you were elected, I would often stand out there and annoy you and everybody else who was sitting up here at the time by talking about Scientology, and I'm glad I had a chance to do it for 2 years right here. But it's been an honor serving with you. And I gotta say, there are times when we've been at different events, like at the Phillies, and I'll see you and your wife walking ahead of me, holding hands. And I think to myself, boy, how lucky is he? You won more than one lottery. So,
Truth is, Mark, the truth is, she holds my hand because I tend to wander if she does. So she keeps me going where she wants me to go. So.
Well, I wish you the best, and I hope you enjoy your travels and your retirement.
Thank you.
Mr. Margolis?
Thank you, Mayor. I was struggling with what to say this evening, being so new to the city of Clearwater and not having had the opportunity to get to know you over the years that the mayor has and some of the other council members have. But I wanted to say, number one, how much I appreciate what you and your family have done for this city, both in the private sector and here on the dais. That perspective that you have brought over these years of service has been transformative for the city, has been transformative for our residents. And as someone who has spent my career in public service, I appreciate the heart that you have invested. I know how hard it is, having spent my career in public service. It is not easy to be up here. It is not easy to run campaigns, and yet you have done it with the energy and commitment throughout your entire years of service while managing your business, while raising a family at home. And I just want you to know, number one, how much I respect that, and number two, how thankful I am that you welcomed me into the family of Clearwater. I did not know, as someone new to the city, how I would be able to acclimate, but people like you who have been here a long time have welcomed me into the city, and I'm just so thankful for your friendship as well as inviting me in, and I hope to make you proud in the years ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Jennings?
Thank you, Mayor. Quite unfortunately, we've had a brief time together professionally. I have enjoyed every minute of sitting next to you on the dais, but also, more importantly, being able to meet with you one-on-one and really giving me the history lessons that I've so desperately needed as I've taken on this position in a very new environment. I love listening to the stories of years ago with your dad and really the Palm Pavilion, what your father had to go through in order to buy the restaurant and make it in what it is today, thanks to his kids. And so really being able to understand and appreciate your intense love for this city. You are going to be very missed, and I hope you know that, because there are things that I've listened to you, I've learned from you, that I have taken and tried to do on the operational side. You've got brilliant ideas of really where the city has been, where we are, and where we need to go. So then on a personal side, I think of you as a slightly older, big brother. And the reason is that we have traveled the same path.
Many of the same paths.
And, you were a student manager at Georgia Tech. I was a student manager at Indiana University. I think we might have been a little bit better than Tech at that time.
You definitely were. But I got a better education, but we don't go there.
That's actually true. IU was a party school back in those days. But there's a kinship that I feel with you that will last beyond this evening. And I know, and I'm thankful that I'll be able to continue to depend on you as a slightly older brother to be able to get the advice and direction that I will definitely need as the years go by.
Thank you.
Thank you so very, very much for blessing me with this job, and also, most importantly, your friendship.
Thank you.
Chief?
You didn't tell me you're going to allow him up here to speak. This is not good.
He said roast. Dan Slaughter, Chief of Police. I wanted to say, on behalf of, from the perspective of a department director, but also a friend, you've always been someone who's been a very strong advocate for the staff, very fair with the staff. You've judged us when we needed to be judged, but you've also been very supportive with us. And I don't think we could have had, somebody that we watch up here have a nice, fierce debate, but then walk away with being very professional and cordial. And I think that's a good example for all of us. I appreciate that, as a friend, that you've never even put me in a compromised position talking about city business. You knew very well where the line was. You never made me feel uncomfortable. You never made me get in the middle or drag me into the middle of stuff. You really respected the lines that the city leadership had made. And I think that's a testament to your ethics and your high level of accountability and just treating people with respect and right. So thank you for your service. You're a good man, and I definitely look at you and many of you up there as Clearwater royalty and future royalty. So thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you, Dan.
Floor is yours.
All right. Well, obviously you can't start this speech or this talk without thanking my family. I mean, without them and without their support, I could not have done any of this. They are amazing. I'm fortunate to have been born into and raised in a fantastic family, and got a great wife. And I'll tell you a quick story about her. The first time I got elected in 2001, I walked into the city office the day after the election, and the administrative assistant, Carol, was there. And as soon as I walked in, Mr. Council, or at that time we were Commissioner, you can do this, Commissioner, you can get this, Commissioner, you can get this, anything you need, don't hesitate to ask, blah, blah, blah. As soon as we walked out that door, the first thing my wife said was, check that crap at the door, because that's not coming home. And she's held to that the entire time. And I made a pledge to my wife when I got elected. I said, I will change the job of being a council member, commissioner, before I allow it to change me. And I think I've done a pretty good job. I've pretty much stayed who I am. I mean, who else comes into City Hall wearing shorts? Because shorts is what I wear to work most days. And I'm not going to go home just to change clothes to have a meeting. So, I'm fortunate with that. And as the chief alluded to, city staff, people don't realize what great staff we have, what professional people they are. They're not miracle workers and they're not always spot on, but boy, I'll tell you what, they work hard and they give the people of Clearwater everything they've got, and we're fortunate to have that. I'm really sorry. I mean, the first 13 and a half years, I was fortunate to work with Pam Aiken and Bill Horn. Both of them were just so rock steady and helped guide me. Pam was kind of like a sister at certain times. And Bill was definitely more than willing with his military background to undress me if I needed it. Yeah, but it was unbelievable. I miss Bill every single day. Pam's still in town, and now, I hope to connect with her soon and have lunch and catch up on some stuff. I want to congratulate Dave and Lena on their elections. I know they'll do a very good job. Miranda is sitting right here. Miranda, I want to compliment you on a great campaign and how hard you worked. And there's a lot of people that are very impressed with what you did, and looking forward to what you'll be able to do in the future. Back to staff. I guess one of my, not pet peeves, but critiques is society has evolved into this instant gratification. Everybody wants everything right now, and they want send in an email. They want a response in 5 minutes. Have a little patience. Understand what our government is and what our job is. I mean, our job is to do all that really exciting stuff you just heard, reading all those ordinances and doing annexations and all that. That's what our job really is. Now, we also want to be available and help the community in every way we possibly can, but some citizens don't understand exactly what our toolbox has in it, and they want things that aren't in our toolbox, and you have to explain it to them. But there's nothing we're not willing to do if we have the tools to make it happen. But we can't make it happen overnight. And that's kind of been the frustrating part, but you understand that when you've sat up here for 14 years, you understand that. I'm going to finish with kind of a history, a historical story. My dad, miss him every day too. The man I have more respect for than anybody in this world. He bought the Pond Pavilion on April Fool's Day, 1964. My mom thought he was a fool for buying it. And it was every dollar he could put together to buy it. And he put in more hours and more love and more sweat equity into that business to build it, and probably broke a few child labor laws by making me and my brothers work probably before we were old enough to really do it. But I can tell you, it was some of the best times of my life. I mean, I used to serve hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, Coca-Colas, and add up the sale in my head, including sales tax, take the money, put it in the register, and count the change back without a computer, without anything. And that really is a talent that today's educational society doesn't teach. Simple, how to handle currency, how to count it, how to do it. If you don't have the monitor telling you how much change to give back, people don't know. And I mean, it's amazing. And I look at that, but I mean, my dad, he instilled in me and my brothers. He talked to us, and he was very, very forthcoming, saying, you guys need to realize how fortunate you are and how fortunate we are as a family to have what we have. And he said, the best way to acknowledge that is to give back to the community. My dad served on numerous boards. One of the ones I'm most proud of for my dad was he was the chairman of the capital campaign to raise the money to build the YMCA on Highland Avenue. And he worked with a lot of the, other business people in the city of Clearwater who sat on that with him and helped him raise that money. My brothers and I have since picked that up. We've served on numerous boards. And to be honest with you, that's where I've established a whole bunch of my relationships, my professional relationships. Serving on boards, Clearwater for Youth. I used to be on the RCS, which is now Hope of Pinellas. I've been on a number of other boards. My brothers have been on boards, And that's where we've gotten to know people in the community. And Miranda, contrary to being considered the good old boy club, that's where our relationships were built. So when I wanted to run, that's people I would reach out to for support. And serving on all those boards, it wasn't just a bunch of white guys. There were women, there were black women, black men, people of different ethnicities. And that is an arena that I encourage you to get involved in, because it will expand your horizons tremendously. And that, when you get into that arena, it's amazing. I mean, just to be able to work with those people to help raise millions of dollars for different nonprofits throughout this community, it's truly a highly rewarding experience, and I look forward to getting back on a few boards now that I'm no longer on this one. But it's just been it's been a great ride. I can't say I'm glad it's over, because I really have enjoyed it. But it is time to move on. But I'm not going anywhere other than when I'm out of town, when my wife drags me somewhere. But I will still be around if anybody needs me. My phone number doesn't change. And I look forward to seeing you all out and about. Other than that, I think I'm done.
Did that include your closing comments?
That is my closing comments. Don't start the buzzer. Don't start the 3 minutes.
Councilmember Albrecht.
Well, I tell you, it was Tuesday was the culmination of a long period of campaigning, and I think that the city of Clearwater, they came out and voted, and I was really happy to see the amount of people that came out for the vote. I want to thank everybody for putting me back in for 4 years. I think we're going to get some things done. I'm really looking forward to it. So thank everybody out there. Miranda, please stay involved. You impress so many people on the circuit, but what Hoyt said is true. Get out there in bigger circles, and you'll do fine. And we want to help you with that. So thank everybody in my campaign, and I'm glad to have Lena on board. I think we can get some things done. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Beckman.
Well, I wanted to say happy St. Patrick's Day. It's good to see people wearing green. I have a lot of Irish in my family. Also wanted to mention Mr. Margolis, you did a fantastic job reading those ordinances and consolidating them. I was so impressed. You had enthusiasm and pace, and it was great. And then congratulations to Councilmember Albritton and to Lena on their wins on Tuesday. It'll be good to have a new council seated, and I look forward to making progress with everyone.
Councilmember Bunker.
Yes, congratulations to Councilmember Albritton. Look forward to spending at least a couple more years with you here. And also, congratulations to Lena Teixeira, who is going to be a terrific addition to the council, and I look forward to working with her. And also, I have to say, Miranda did a great job, and I'm looking forward to having a new lunch buddy.
Well, we did have an election, as everyone knows, and I do want to thank all the candidates. It is a grueling process. If you haven't done it, it's tough on the family. Campaigning is really tough on the family. And I just appreciate people at least putting themselves out there and showing that they are interested. And Miranda, thank you for being here tonight. Just a couple things. I want to thank Clearwater for Youth. They had their scholarship breakfast on March 8th at Baycare Ballpark. Councilmember Albritton and the Vice Mayor were there along with me, and they gave away $150,000 in scholarships. And those are primarily given by individuals that have made a commitment every year that they are going to give scholarships away to these kids. And it's just tremendous. I want to congratulate APG. one of a company that's very involved in our community for 40 years of service here, and Councilmember Albritton was there. It's a beautiful campus that they have, and they're good people that do a lot of great projects. We have a potential sister city relationship, and I spoke with the mayor of It's Me Kilpan in Hidalgo, Mexico, which is where the majority of our Hispanic population in Clearwater comes from. And so they're going to be making an application which will eventually go to the Sister Cities Board and then come to us, but I hope that that will work out. I think it could be a really good relationship. We don't have as many relationships as most cities. We do have ones that are very deep with Nagano, but I think that this would be a good one. I wanted to tell you all that the TDC receipts were in for February. They were up 70% over 2021. That is hard to believe.
Beautiful.
2019 was a record-breaking year. We broke most of the months in 2021 over 2019, and then to be 70% in February is really impressive. We want to give our condolences to the Turner family at their loss of Joe Turner. I want to congratulate Deputy Chief Eric Gandy for his retirement and 30 years of service to the city of Clearwater and the police department. Opening day, this Saturday, 1 o'clock at Baycare Ballpark. Hope you can come out. Got a lot of great things going on in the region. Valspar this whole weekend. We've got 5 of the top 10 players. Amplify is having their post-legislative wrap-up next week. If you are interested in hearing our legislators and have them tell you about the legislative session, you can reach out to Amplify and get tickets to that. Gotta give a shout out to 2 of our citizens next week. Irene McKeever and Gigi Janisek are both celebrating 100 years young. So we want to wish them a very, very happy birthday. And the next Saturday, as the city manager said, is Neighborhoods Day. We haven't done it since 2019, and we look forward to seeing all of the neighborhoods and all of our citizens. And I'll tell you, take a couple Tums before you get in that car, because they're going to want you to eat something at every place, and that's a lot. So thank you all for tuning in. Vice Mayor, thank you, sir.
You are very welcome.
You're the best.
Thank you.
We're adjourned. God bless.